All right, diving right in. Today we're looking at 1 Nephi chapter 5 from the Book of Mormon. And let me tell you, expert speaker, this one's a doozy. We're talking about Lehi's family going back to Jerusalem, trying to get those plates of brass from Laban. And man, the family drama is intense. Sariah, Lehi's wife, she does not hold back when her sons come back. What's your take on her initial reaction?
Yeah, picture this. You think your sons are gone, lost in the wilderness, and suddenly there they are, weeks later. The relief must have been indescribable. But like you said, it quickly turns into this really charged conversation with Lehi.
Right. She calls him a visionary man, and it's definitely not a compliment. She basically throws it back in his face like, see, I told you so. But then her perspective totally shifts. How do you explain that?
It's a fascinating change. At first, she's skeptical. She's questioning Lehi's visions. But then, look at verse 8. She says to Nephi, her son, "Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath commanded my husband to flee into the wilderness." She goes from doubting to firmly believing that God is behind this whole journey. Talk about a testament to her growing faith.
It's incredible. And Lehi, talk about sticking to your guns. Even when Sariah is doubting him, he doesn't waver. He owns that visionary man label, saying, "I know that I am a visionary man, for if I had not seen the goodness of God in the land of promise, I should not have known that he would deliver us." It makes you wonder, what if he hadn't trusted those visions?
Right. It highlights the importance of following your intuition, your gut feeling, especially when people are questioning you. Lehi's unwavering belief, his conviction that he was following God's plan, that's what gave him the strength to lead his family through unbelievably tough times. It's a powerful reminder for all of us, when we're facing our own challenges.
Absolutely. So they get the plates, finally. But these are no ordinary family heirlooms, are they? What made these plates of brass so important?
Think of them as this portable library filled with their history, their faith, everything. They had the 5 books of Moses in there, which outline their core beliefs, their laws, plus a complete record of the Jews from the very beginning to the reign of Zedekiah, their last king before Babylon. Can you imagine having access to all that history?
Wow, it's like carrying their entire cultural identity with them. And they had prophecies in there too, didn't they?
Exactly. They had prophecies from people like Jeremiah who warned about Jerusalem's destruction. This wasn't just some abstract prediction. It was directly relevant to what Lehi's family was going through. They would found so much meaning, so much guidance in those words.
That's amazing. So they've got the creation story, their family tree, spiritual warnings. It's like their entire heritage packed onto these plates.
And there's one more crucial thing. The plates also held Lehi's genealogy, tracing his lineage all the way back to Joseph of Egypt.
Hold on, so Lehi's genealogy is on these plates. Why was that such a big deal? It's not like they needed it to find their way out of Jerusalem, right?
You're right. It goes way deeper than that. Remember, Joseph of Egypt wasn't just some random ancestor. He was a huge deal in their history. Sold into slavery, becomes super powerful in Egypt, and ends up saving his whole family from starvation. Yeah, this connection to Joseph, it solidified their claim to those covenant blessings promised to Abraham's descendants, blessings of land, prosperity, and this special bond with God.
Oh, wow. I see what you mean. It's like they were literally carrying their spiritual birthright as they left Jerusalem. That's a whole new way to look at packing light, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, though, it makes you think about the legacies we inherit and which parts we choose to hold on to.
Definitely. And Lehi, he got this completely. He knew these records had the power to teach and guide his descendants, like way down the line. In fact, he even prophesied that these plates of brass, they would go forth to all nations and never be destroyed. Think about that. He saw their preservation, their impact across generations.
And here we are, thousands of years later, talking about them. Mind-blowing. It's like he knew that someone like you would be studying these verses, trying to understand, trying to connect. What are your thoughts on that, expert speaker?
Well, I think it shows how powerful Scripture can be, how it lasts. These words, they've gone beyond time, beyond cultures, and their meaning still hits home today. The stories, the teachings, those covenants on those plates, they were meant to be shared, passed down through generations. And you, by engaging with the Book of Mormon, you're living proof that Lehi's prophecy came true.
Wow, that gives me goosebumps. We hear so much about remembering history, but this is something else. It's not just dates and names in a dusty book. It's about keeping faith and knowledge alive. What can we learn even today from how dedicated Lehi was to preserving these records, even with everything on the line?
Lehi's story is a powerful reminder, don't you think? It shows us that history isn't just some boring old stuff. It's a living record, full of the experiences, the faith, the lessons of the people who came before us. His actions were like a powerful message to his children and all their descendants. These stories matter. These records are worth saving no matter what.
So true. He could have easily been like, we're running for our lives, travel light, we can tell the stories later if we have time. But he didn't. He knew how important they were right then and there.
Absolutely. He knew that by understanding the past, by learning from both the good and the bad that came before, we get this amazing perspective on the present and guidance for the future.
Makes me think of that quote, those who can't remember the past are doomed to repeat it. And Lehi clearly didn't want that for his family. He wanted them to grow from the experiences of their ancestors to be better because of them. Which leads to a pretty big question. What will future generations learn from us? What stories, what lessons will we leave behind? What do you think?
Now that's a question worth thinking about, isn't it? It shows how responsible we all are, not just to learn from the past, but to contribute to the future. We're all writing our own stories, making choices that'll have a ripple effect for generations to come. What will those stories tell? What will our records say about who we were and what we thought was important?
It's like he was sending us a message in a bottle, right? But instead of a bottle, it's these plates. And it's not just for his family, it's for everyone who reads these words all these years later.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole chapter so powerful, so intriguing. It's bigger than just one family trying to protect their history. It's about understanding how powerful Scripture is, how it connects us to something bigger than ourselves.
We've covered a lot today. Family drama, ancient prophecies, the importance of legacy. But for someone listening, someone who's thinking, okay, that's all interesting and everything, but what does this have to do with me right now? What would you say to them?
Good question. I think this chapter really pushes us to think about our own relationship with the past. What stories have shaped us, made us who we are? What lessons have we learned from the people who came before us? And how are we preserving our own experiences for the generations coming after us?
It's like these ancient stories, they still have something to teach us today. Lehi risking everything to get those plates, Sariah's faith, those prophecies that have lasted for centuries. These aren't just things that happened a long time ago. They teach us about faith, family, the importance of knowledge, things that are still so relevant to us today.
You said it. And that's why this deep dive is so fascinating, right? It's not just about digging up historical facts. It's about figuring out how those facts connect to our lives, how they can inspire us to live better, more meaningful lives.
I like that. Well said.